Hey guys, Booker Noir here. I'm with the Geeky Squid. Today I figured I'd tell you guys a story in a new segment I'm going to call Story Time, where I'm going to tell you guys some stuff that's happened to me throughout my life. And yeah, hopefully you guys will find it half as entertaining as I have. So today I want to talk about when my skin actually fell off, or started falling off, because I had a severe and all three different types of atopic dermatitis. And having all three types is rare, especially as a teenager, which I was when I had it. I always had it when I was little, but as I grew up, my skin, it just never got better. Everyone on my mom's side of the family has it, but they have it in different locations. But when I had it just all over the place, all over my body. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm like covered in just nothing but like scar tissue, stuff like that. I mean, it's not as bad as like a burn victim or anything, but you can definitely see that there's, some scars and whatnot everywhere on my body. So, yeah, see right there, that's from when they had to do a skin biopsy. Ooh, right there. Skin biopsy right there. Yeah, because they wanted to make sure it wasn't anything else serious or anything like that. I have another one just like that on my back from when they took it there, too. So, yeah, skin biopsies suck shit. Anyway, so, for all you don't know, it's atopic dermatitis or eczema, which is just really dry and cracked skin. It can be flaky, and there's the three types I think are, if I remember right, I haven't had a flare-up in forever, so I'm thankful. I think I might have finally got over it. But there's like the oozy stuff that kind of oozes like pus and plasma and stuff. There's a kind that's really cracky and just dry, and then there's the other kind that kind of cracks and bleeds a lot. And I had all three types all at the same time, which apparently was kind of weird or something. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I had to deal with it. But, so, it started when I was in about middle school. So all throughout puberty, I had this skin condition. And it was like I was rotting. I smelled like a dumpster with just hot, nasty fish, like a homeless person just rolling around in hot, rotten fish. That's what I smelled like all the time. And I was made fun of in high school and middle school for it because, I mean, how it's, kids are kids. But anyway, so it's neither here nor there. But that did have a factor into it. And it actually, at one point, drove me and made me feel pretty suicidal and wanting to inflict self-mutilation on myself. And not like cutting or anything like that. But it made me actually want to chop off my own hands, because I could not control, the scratching just constantly all the time, scratching. I honestly could not control myself, and I really don't know why. It seems so stupid now that I'm older and I'm better, but at the time, for some reason, the only thought in my head was the best way to fight this would be to chop off my own hands, like a meat cleaver, and I don't know how I could do the other one once I got one off. I'd need help or something, but yeah. So it made me want to mutilate my own body and commit suicide, and it was a really dark time in my life. And through that's kind of how I developed as a person. Yeah, so that's how I became me. And there's more, and I'll just say it. But it's weird that now, after it, I'm to the point where I actually like myself now. I like who I am. I like what it made me be. Because before that, not to toot my own horn, but I was attractive. I might be considered attractive now. I mean, I'm married, so, whatever. But back then, I was in shape. I was skinny and everything. But now, the best way to combat the eczema was to use steroids, both topical and internal. So I was on prednisone for the longest time, and you're not supposed to take prednisone more than I can't remember if it was 6 months or something like that, but I was basically on that constantly, and it changed me as a person. It made me angry, it made me hungry, it made me it made it so my emotions were just out of control, just running wild. I could not control how I felt, and the smallest things would piss me off. I would always blame other people for my problems too. That's the biggest thing, is I would always blame others for how I felt and how I acted. There was nothing I did that was wrong. It was all them. But I know now that that simply was not true, because when you get past something like that and you look back at it, you realize that it wasn't them. It was you the whole time. I had the power to stop it, and it seems so stupid because it's just one of those things where, you just don't, it's not a condition that people would think would be a big deal, but to me it was my life. For like 7 years I had to deal with it, and it made growing up a living hell. I mean, it hurt to move. My skin was always tight and cracked and falling off, and I always smelt bad, and whenever I'd go to bed, like, my bed sheets would get coated in just pus and blood and stuff like that, and every time I'd like wake up, I would just see that, and it would just keep lowering my self-esteem, just lower and lower and lower. And it got to the point where I stopped showering because like the water hitting my bare skin would hurt, so I stopped showering completely, and that only made it worse because you have to keep yourself clean and moisturized as much as possible with it, but I just wouldn't, and it just hurt a lot. What I would do is I would like go into the shower in the morning, and I would shove like a towel into the door so it got nice and warm, and then just lay on the floor and pretend that I went and like took a shower. And see, like, even now, I don't mean to scratch, but even now I just do it just out of habit. But I don't tear my skin open anymore, and I don't look like that, and I don't feel like that anymore. But so yeah, for the longest time it just ruled my life and ruled who I was, and it made me feel like I was not worth it at all. I was not worth anything to anyone. And it sucked. It really, really sucked. Feeling like you're a monster. Every cold that came by, and this here's something else. It happened back when swine flu was a thing. Swine flu happened like right in the middle of my like skin being open. So at one point I actually went to a senior, it was like when I graduated high school, they had like a senior day at like a rec center, and we all got to go like basically spend most of the night there and swim and do a bunch of shit and just mess around with the equipment, right? And we were there, and I couldn't go swimming because my skin was so bad and it hurt so much, and I didn't have like swimsuit or anything like that. So what I did eventually is I just stopped caring. So me and my friend, we actually cut my pants, my jeans, we actually cut like a brand new pair of jeans I had gotten into shorts, like Daisy Dukes. I was like sporting Daisy Dukes at this thing after this. And I went swimming, and I jumped in the pool with like that, and I think it was like a week later, it turns out that some of the kids had developed swine flu. Of course, I was one of them. And so I had swine flu, and I was just like, I was sick. And my mom had to rush me to my dermatologist to see what this was, because this is something that never happened. And I'd been hospitalized about 4 times for it. And yeah, so when I went back to my dermatologist and he saw how I had like a gown from the hospital from a stay before, and he walked in, and I was shaking. I was in so much pain, like I couldn't not shake. I was freezing because my skin was open, so heat was just radiating out of me. I was pale. He said I looked like I was about to die. So they called an ambulance, and they got me up to the hospital, and they admitted me for a while. And their best treatment for something like that is, it's going to sound weird, but they would put like the steroid cream, like triamcinolone, that's what I use at least, and what they used on me, on my skin, and then they wrap it in like cellophane, like saran wrap. So I would be coated in just steroid cream and saran wrap to keep the moisture in my body. But when you took that off, oh, it smelled like hell. It smelled like death. I was rotting, basically. That's how bad it smelled, and that's how bad it felt. And at one point, my skin was like, it was healing and it was dying at the same time, to the point where it looked like I was coated in like cornflakes. Like you could come and just peel off the top layer of my skin, and it was just nasty and chunky and oozy and just infected. It was just full of infection. And they made me take what they told me to do was do bleach baths, which is like you fill up like the cap of like a thing, like a cap of bleach, and you put it in a bathtub, and then you get in it, because bleach will kill the skin. It will not kill the skin, it'll kill the bacteria on the skin, and heal, and it's supposed to get rid of the bacteria so you can heal and fight the infection. So they prescribed me that. They made me do oatmeal baths. They did a bunch of weird shit to me. Like I had to go in for light treatments, which is where they would like vitamin D basically. So they put me like a weird tanning bed, like a weird standing tanning bed, and they gave me like the little goggles to put on and stuff. And then I'd stand in there, and then I had to stand in there for like 15 minutes while they turned on this, like the lights, the UV lights, and I would just absorb the vitamin D through this weird thing. I smelled like barbecue walking out of that. Like, I smelled weird. It was the weirdest thing on the planet. But now, for whatever reason, now that I've healed and I've kind of gone past it, it's the way it's like I had a compromised immune system during the whole thing, and now that I'm past that, it's almost like I have an overcompensating immune system. So I'm almost never sick anymore. My wife is always sick, but me, I'm like never sick. And when I'm sick, though, I'm like, you know, like the Grim Reaper's waiting outside my door for me because I'm dying. But yeah, so it's just weird that after 7 years and feeling that way, that now that I'm, you know, older and not in the same mindset, not in the same thing, that I feel better. And I know I don't want the, like, I know, take from this what you will, but it's kind of like things get better. You just got to fight through it, you know. I remember there's this one point during it where I told my dad that I wanted to kill myself. Like, I honestly wanted to die because I looked and felt like absolute garbage all the time. Like, I just felt really, really bad. Really, really bad. And it sucks. I know it sucks. So again, it's just one of those things that you don't think would matter, but it did. And it made me who I am. Like, all the stuff I had to endure, all the things, it made me develop as a person more than just, you know, an asshole, super attractive person. It made me, like, develop a personality. That makes more sense. But yeah, it was just a super hard time in my life for about 7 years, from the age of, shit, how old was I? Like 15 up till, like 2000 and, I want to say like 2010. I was just bad. My skin was just bad. It was just awful. I felt like a zombie, basically. And yeah, so yeah, I got past it, and life gets better. So, you know, right now, yeah, it's pretty good now. It's pretty good compared to where I was in that mindset. Just looking back and thinking about it now, it's pretty good, and I'm happy with who I am now. I know most people consider me an asshole, but whatever. When you've been through a lot of shit like I have, you learn that very little matters what people say and how people feel about you and how other people see you. And if you can make yourself happy and do what makes you happy, makes you laugh, that's what it's all about. Make your life as wonderful for yourself as you possibly can. And sometimes there's things you can't change right away. And you have to know that sometimes things don't just get better. There's not a cure for any one thing to just, and it's better, you know. You just gotta hang in there and keep fighting through it. And eventually it does get better. So I don't want to be on like my little soapbox, but yeah, I figured I'd just tell you guys that story. And I can go into more in depth about it, but this is just, you know, first story time, so I figured I'd give you guys something. It was huge in my life then, it's not so much now, but I'm happy it happened just because it made me who I am. And I don't think many people have things like that they feel that they overcame and got through to be where they are now. And I feel like I've done that. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. I don't know what else to say. I'm not going to tell you to like, share, comment, and subscribe because whatever, but yeah, if you took the time to watch this, thank you. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Alright? Booker Noir out. Scene.